I hope you are having a beautiful day. Today we are doing something different, so welcome to episode 1 of Tea with D. If some of you think that this is drama, I am not spilling the tea. This is just Tea with D, where we drink tea, hang out, and talk about stuff that's real and that we go through. I wanted a space to talk about these things because overall I try to keep the content on my channel very upbeat and fun and positive. While I love doing this, sometimes you just gotta talk about some real stuff. Like there's things that we all deal with that I think that it's important to talk about. And I thought this could be a safe space where we just hang out. You guys get your cup of tea or coffee if you drink coffee, sit down, relax, and we can chill and we can chat about some stuff. So today we're going to be talking about depression and guilt. Now this is a concept that kind of popped into my head when I went through my last bout of depression. I am quite lucky in that my depression doesn't usually last too long. It's something that I can usually, get myself out of fairly quickly within a few days. And it's something that's very much triggered by certain triggers. Like, I'm not the kind of person that just becomes depressed for no reason, at least usually not. So I'm very lucky in that I know the target, I know how to pinpoint my depression and kind of work from there. But I know not everybody is that lucky. I know a lot of people deal with depression for longer periods of time, and often some people just get depressed and they don't really know why they're depressed. It's just something that they deal with. So I understand that, my experience is not the worst experience, but it's an experience, and that's kind of something we're talking about today. So what is depression guilt? Well, I couldn't actually find a definition online or much information for the matter when I Googled. Depression guilt seems to be a concept that's not widely talked about. When I Googled depression guilt or guilt from depression, all I got was articles about depression or articles about guilt. There was one article, it was not scholarly, it was not a psychological article, it was just like some sort of magazine article that talked about how a lot of people experience guilt around depression and it's normal, blah, blah, blah. But that was basically the extent of it. There was not really much about depression guilt. And I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I think that there'd be more literature on this, but maybe there is, it's just in like scholarly, there is a fruit fly, leave me alone. Maybe there are scholarly articles out there. I just don't have access to them because I'm no longer in school. And let's be real here, I wasn't about to spend money on a subscription for scholarly articles when I have so many other bills, payments, subscriptions. Yeah, I decided we're going to just approach this from the ideas that came to me. Sometimes random concepts will just come in my mind and then suddenly it just compares it to a whole bunch of other stuff that I know that I learned in school and stuff, and everything's just like, whoa, I'm like, okay, let's talk about this on camera because I don't know where these ideas came from, but I feel like they need to be shared, so let's do that. So what is depression guilt? Well, according to my definition, depression guilt is when you feel depressed and you feel guilty about being depressed. And there's so many different common reasons, I believe, why people feel this, and let me know in the comments below if you relate to any of these. One of them is that you feel guilty about sharing or guilty about, just dumping things on people that you love, whether it's a friend or a family member. You just feel like you're always dumping your stuff on them. But the one I want to talk about the most is the guilt that you feel depressed because you feel like you have it way better than other people in the world and you have no right to feel depressed. Now tell me if you've heard this before, or like if you've told yourself this before or someone else has told you this before. Stop feeling so down or stop being depressed or suck it up. You have it so good. You have a roof over your head, you have food, you have water. You have it way better than the starving children in Africa. Now, how many times have we heard that line? Oh, suck it up. You're not a starving child in Africa. Or you're not living in a country ridden by war. Or whatever other horrible situation you can think about, comparing that to your personal situation. I feel like a lot of us have heard this or have told ourselves this story, and it's very dangerous and it's not fair. It really isn't. And that's what I want to talk about today because I have a lot of ideas around this concept. All right, so as many of you know, I do have a degree in psychology, a 4-year degree. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. I am not a therapist. So obviously things that I'm talking about in here, take them as you will. I am not a professional, but I think I have enough experience with the matter to just discuss it. Obviously, this is not a replacement for therapy. It's just a YouTube video. We're just discussing things. But I do want to bring up some concepts that I learned in psychology while I was in school because I think they're very valid in the discussion about depression guilt. Have you guys ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? I feel like most people have. If you haven't, here is a chart of what it looks like, and I'm going to explain it to you. But most people have heard of it in high school. If you didn't go to school for psychology, I feel like it was like in my grade 11 sociology, psychology, anthropology combination course that I took. But if you don't know what the hierarchy of needs are, if you're not familiar with it, I am going to explain it to you. So basically, Maslow created this hierarchy of human needs. And at the very bottom of this hierarchy, we have the physiological needs. So these are the most basic needs for survival. So we have air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Without these things, we can't survive. We can't survive without oxygen. We can't survive without water, food, shelter. So these are the most basic needs of survival. And he believes that once these physiological needs are met, then that's when you move up the hierarchy. So then we have safety needs. This is personal security, employment, resources, health. Once those needs are met, then we move up the scale, and then we have love and belonging. So this is friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. And then we move up. We have esteem, so respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom. These are all still very important things. Yes, they're not at the bottom of the hierarchy, but they're still human needs that need to be met. We want these needs to be met. It's in our human nature. And then at the very top of the hierarchy, not everybody gets here, but it is one of our needs, and it is the desire to become the most that one can be. So the desire for more, the desire to find purpose, the desire to find something more important and powerful in your life than just like the everyday, physical world. All right, so why am I bringing up Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Well, I just want to first point out that a lot of us that are experiencing this depression guilt, we already have our first 2 or 3 levels of this hierarchy of needs met. We're not living in a country that's ridden by war. Thankfully, we're so lucky. We have abundance of food and water. We have our safety needs met. So basically, I want to talk about why you don't need to feel guilt about feeling depressed or feel bad about being depressed because you think that, I have it so good. I am so fortunate. I shouldn't feel bad. Yes, I think gratitude is important, but I don't think you should invalidate your feelings. No one's feelings should ever be invalidated. Now, as we see in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it is literally biologically programmed into us as humans for us to want better for ourselves, to want a better life, to experience things that make us happy and feel full. If our basic needs are met, it is only natural for us to move up the hierarchy. So if you have your physiological needs met, then it only makes sense that you're not going to stress about those things. It only makes sense in that you move up the hierarchy to your safety needs, and then your love and belonging needs, and then your self-esteem needs, and then your self-actualization needs. So if you're at the state of trying to find self-actualization, trying to find purpose in your life, and you're not finding that and you feel stuck, it is only then normal that you get upset about it. Maybe you experience depression, but you don't have to feel bad about experiencing depression because you are not concerned about those physiological needs or safety needs like someone in another country. Yes, we can feel remorse about that. Yes, we can donate and care about those other people and send them love, but to invalidate our own emotions when we are in a completely different stage of this hierarchy of needs, it's not something that, we should be feeling bad about. That brings me to my second point, that everybody has their own battles. And no one's experience, no one's mental health struggle should ever be invalidated because someone else's may seem worse than theirs. I saw something recently on the internet, and I'm trying to recall who it was, and I'm blanking, but it was a male celebrity that opened up about his mental health struggles during the P word, what we're experiencing right now. And so many regular everyday people attacked him. Like, oh, boo-hoo, look at you struggling in your mansion, your multi-million-dollar mansion. I think was it Sam Smith? Tell me in the comments below, was it Sam Smith? I'm totally blanking. I'm going to see if I can find this and insert it on the screen. If I can't find it, then there's nothing on the screen. But I believe it was Sam Smith that was struggling with mental health. Everyone was just coming down on him. Everyone was being so harsh. They're like, oh, boo-hoo, look at you, depressed in your $1 million mansion. You got all this money while people are losing their jobs and they don't have anywhere to go and they're not making enough money to support their families, blah, 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 blah. Completely invalidating his experience, his mental health needs, just because he's rich. This happens a lot. We put celebrities and rich people on this pedestal that, because they have a lot of money, they have absolutely no right to feel mental health issues, which isn't fair. Again, everyone has their own experience. Everyone has their own struggles. Everyone's experience, feelings, depression, mental health struggles are valid. It doesn't matter how much money you have. And I think what that has shown us is that money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it buys freedom, but money does not buy happiness at all whatsoever. You could be the richest person in the world and be miserable. The next thing I want to touch on is depression guilt about, dumping something on somebody else. The thing I want to bring up is that chances are the person that you are sharing your depression, your anxiety, whatever you are going through with, chances are they've also experienced the same thing. It is very rare in our society that you will meet somebody else who hasn't already dealt with the struggle that you're dealing with or isn't dealing with it right now. Chances are they understand. So the next point/tip I want to make about depression guilt and, getting over depression guilt is first get to the root of where it's coming from. Like, why are you feeling guilty? Is it one of the things that I brought up in this video? Well, watch this video again and maybe contemplate that and remind yourself that your feelings are valid. You have every right to feel them. You feel things for certain reasons. That's what I always tell myself is, I feel like crap right now, but my mind, my body is telling me something. I feel this way because something in my life is not lining up how I want it to line up. Something in my life is not aligned. So what do? Well, I figure out how to change it. For me, depression has always kind of been, it's been difficult and crippling at times, but at the same time, it's also been motivation. It's been motivation to better myself. It's been motivation to better my life and change things in a way that'll make me happy. It makes me understand myself more and what kind of things I want in my life and what things do not serve me, what paths are not meant for me, and helps me change them, or at least work towards changing them, motivate me to work towards changing them. And I'm not saying that you can't be happy until you get there, because it is all part of the journey. And you're not going to 100% be happy with your circumstances all the time. I think it's important to find happiness in the present moment. And that is something that takes practice. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the time my depression is also my motivator to do better and to find better for myself. Another thing I want to touch on is the importance of rest and recharge. I feel like a lot of us get depression guilt when we are less productive because we're depressed. At least I get that. I'm sure there's people out there that also feel the same way. But when I am depressed, I have no motivation to get anything done. I have no motivation for work. I have no motivation for YouTube, even though it's something I love to do. I have no motivation for anything. And I'm just not productive. Even if it's for a couple of days, I feel guilty about resting, and that's a problem. But the way I see it is I get so caught up in the idea that if I'm not productive every single day, my dreams won't come true. If I'm not productive every single day, I am sabotaging myself, and therefore I am where I am because I'm not working hard enough and it's my fault. I know deep down when I think about it, that is not true, because we all need time to rest and recharge. It is important. It's part of our creative cycle. It's part of our cycle in general. If you look at the seasons in nature, we have, spring, summer, fall, winter. Winter is the season of rest. Winter is the season where all the flowers, the grass, everything goes to sleep. The flowers aren't in full bloom all year round. They need time to regenerate. Just like nature, humans work in seasons. If you think about it, winter is kind of like our rest recharge time. Maybe it's the time you kind of deal with a little bit of depression, you're a little bit tired. Get ready for your spring. It's completely normal. And I've been trying to teach myself this a little bit more because I am a workaholic. I love the high I get when I'm productive. When I just bulk filmed a whole bunch of videos in the week, when I spent a day filming, editing, uploading, brainstorming, I got so much done. I feel so amazing. I love that high of productivity, specifically when I'm doing something I enjoy. If you own your own business, chances are you also tend to do this because in a way your work is your life. Like it's something that you build, it's your baby, it is your life. But I have been trying really hard to teach myself that self-care, rejuvenation, rest, recharge, that is super, super important. So I just want to wrap it up, guys. At the end of the day, I just want to make the point that everyone's feelings, everyone's mental health is valid. You can feel whatever you need to feel without feeling bad because somebody else in the world has it worse than you. Someone else in the world will always have it worse than you. That's just fact. That's just the reality. Unfortunately, that's the world. But just because someone else in the world has it worse than you, that doesn't mean that you don't have the right to feel and you don't have the right to do whatever it takes to make yourself feel better. Get the help that you need. Get the therapy, the medication. Take the time to yourself. Take care of yourself. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, episode 1 of Tea with D. I hope to do these maybe like every other week kind of thing. It'll be a bonus video. I'll still have my regular content up. Tell me in the comments below, have you ever experienced depression, guilt yourself? Do you have any other thoughts to contribute? I am open to discussion, but especially since it's a topic that doesn't seem to be talked about much, and I haven't seen anyone compare the concepts that I've talked about today. So I'm really curious to see how you guys take this. Anyways, I hope you guys have a beautiful, amazing day. I hope you're taking the time to do something that you enjoy, something that is good for your mental health, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.